Nexus Station loomed ahead, a colossal testament to interstellar engineering and diplomacy. As my shuttle docked, I felt a blend of excitement and nerves gnawing at my stomach. The hum of the engines and the chatter of my fellow passengers faded into the background as I stepped into the bustling hub. My heart pounded with each step. Walking through the docking bay, I took in the sight of Nexus Station. It was a kaleidoscope of colors and species, a bustling marketplace of cultures and languages. Alien merchants hawked exotic wares, while travelers from across the galaxy hurried about their business. The air was thick with the scent of unfamiliar spices and the hum of countless conversations. I couldn't help but smile. This was exactly where I wanted to be. I made my way to the Interstellar Cafeteria, the heart of Nexus Station. It was a sprawling space filled with stalls representing a myriad of culinary traditions. The air was rich with the scent of cooking food, and the clatter of pots and pans created a symphony of activity. My stomach growled in anticipation. This was my stage, and I was ready to perform. I approached the administrative desk, where a tall, thin alien with translucent skin and several eyes glanced up from a datapad. "Eli Morgan?" they asked, their voice melodious and calm. "Yes, that's me," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "I'm here to secure my spot in the cafeteria." The alien nodded and gestured for me to follow. "I am Tal, the culinary coordinator. Welcome to Nexus Station. Let's get you situated." Thal led me through the labyrinthine corridors of the cafeteria, explaining the rules and expectations. Each chef is responsible for maintaining their own station. Cleanliness and safety are paramount. You will have access to our shared storage and can order ingredients from the central supply. We encourage creativity, but be mindful of the dietary needs and sensitivities of our diverse patrons. We stopped at a vacant stall, and Thal handed me a datapad. "This will be your station. Familiarize yourself with the controls and layout. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask." "Thank you," I said, taking the datapad. I glanced around my new workspace, already imagining the dishes I would create. This was it, the start of my interstellar culinary adventure. As I started unpacking my equipment, I couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement. This was my chance to introduce Earth's cuisine to the galaxy, to show what human food could do. I took a deep breath and got to work. Not far from my station, a commotion caught my attention. Two alien merchants, one with scales shimmering in shades of blue, and the other with a leathery hide, were arguing loudly. Their dispute had drawn a crowd, and tension crackled in the air. I watched as a figure stepped forward, commanding immediate attention. She was human, like me, but there was something about her presence that was magnetic. Her uniform marked her as a peacekeeping officer, and she moved with a confidence that spoke of experience and authority. "Enough," she said, her voice cutting through the din. The merchants fell silent, glaring at each other but holding back their next words. "What seems to be the problem here?" The merchant with the scales hissed. "He's trying to undercut my prices. It's unfair competition." The leathery-skinned merchant growled in response. "Your prices are inflated. I'm just offering a fair deal." The officer held up a hand, silencing them both. "We have regulations to ensure fair trade on Nexus Station. I'll review your records and see if there's been any violation. In the meantime, both of you, step back and calm down." Her calm, authoritative tone worked wonders. The tension in the crowd dissipated, and the merchants reluctantly nodded. She turned and spoke quietly with a few other officials, resolving the conflict with efficiency and diplomacy. As the crowd dispersed, I found myself admiring her. She had handled the situation with such grace and command. I made a mental note to introduce myself later. Someone with her skills could be a valuable ally on this station. The next day, as I was setting up my station, I noticed an alien watching me intently. He was tall and slender, with a pale, almost translucent skin that seemed to shimmer under the cafeteria lights. His eyes were large and curious, and he wore a robe adorned with intricate patterns. "Hello," he said, approaching my station. "You must be the new human chef. I smiled and extended a hand. That's right. Eli Morgan. And you are? Qatar, he replied, shaking my hand with a surprisingly firm grip. I'm a scholar from the Zelthar species. I spend much of my time here studying the effects of different foods on alien physiology. Interesting, I said, genuinely intrigued. What brings you to my station? Qatar's eyes gleamed with curiosity. Human cuisine is a rarity here. I've read about it, but I've never had the opportunity to study it firsthand. Your arrival presents a unique opportunity. Well, you're in luck, I said, gesturing to the ingredients laid out before me. I'm just about to prepare my first dish. You're welcome to observe and taste if you're up for it. Qatar nodded eagerly. I would be honored. I've heard that human spices and ingredients can have fascinating effects on different species. As I started cooking, Qatar watched closely, asking insightful questions about the ingredients and techniques I was using. His enthusiasm was infectious, and I found myself explaining everything in detail, from the origins of the spices to the science behind the cooking methods. This is remarkable, Qatar said as he tasted a spoonful of the sauce I was preparing. The combination of flavors is unlike anything I've experienced before, and the effects on my senses are intriguing. I couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. I'm glad you like it. There's a lot more where that came from. As Qatar continued to observe, I thought about the potential implications of his studies. If human food could have such unique effects on different species, what else could it do? The possibilities were endless, and so were the challenges. Later that evening, I decided to explore more of Nexus Station. The cafeteria had quieted down, and I needed a break from the intensity of the kitchen. I wandered through the corridors, taking in the sights and sounds of this incredible place. As I turned a corner, I saw the peacekeeping officer from earlier. She was talking with a group of station residents, her expression serious but calm. I hesitated for a moment, then approached. "Excuse me," I said, feeling a bit awkward. "I just wanted to thank you for handling that situation in the cafeteria earlier. You were impressive." She turned to face me, her eyes sharp but not unkind. "Just doing my job," she said. "I'm Jaya, by the way. And you are?" "Eli Morgan," I replied, offering a hand. "I'm the new human chef." Jaya shook my hand, a hint of a smile on her lips. "So you're the one causing all the commotion with your food?" I laughed, scratching the back of my head. "Guilty as charged. I didn't expect such strong reactions." Jaya's expression softened slightly. "It's not your fault. Nexus Station is a melting pot, and sometimes things get a bit unpredictable. Just be careful. Not everyone is as open-minded as Qatar." "I'll keep that in mind," I said, grateful for her advice. "Thanks, Jaya." She nodded and turned back to her conversation, and I walked away feeling a bit more grounded. Nexus Station was full of surprises and challenges, but I was starting to feel like I could handle them. I had allies in unexpected places, and the adventure was just beginning. I stood behind my station, hands steady but heart racing. My debut meal on Nexus Station needed to be perfect. The ingredients were prepped, the aromas tantalizing. This was my chance to showcase the best of Earth's cuisine to a galaxy that had never tasted anything like it. As I plated the first dish, a carefully crafted fusion of flavors and textures, patrons began to gather. The usual hum of conversation quieted, replaced by the sizzle of cooking and the clinking of utensils. I could feel dozens of eyes on me, each one filled with curiosity and skepticism. I took a deep breath and began serving. The initial reactions were everything I hoped for. A tall, blue-skinned alien took a bite and let out a sound that could only be described as a purr. Another patron, a being with multiple arms and a single large eye, nodded appreciatively. Whispers of delight spread through the crowd. I allowed myself a moment of pride. But then, things started to go awry. One patron, A small creature with iridescent scales suddenly burst into laughter, uncontrollable and loud. Another, a towering insectoid, began to sway, its compound eyes unfocused. The blue-skinned alien who had purred now looked alarmed, their skin shifting to a bright, unsettling hue. "What's happening?" I muttered, trying to keep my voice calm. Panic started to rise as more patrons exhibited strange reactions. A group of bird-like aliens started chirping wildly, while a reptilian customer slumped over, seemingly unconscious. The cafeteria descended into chaos. The cacophony of alarmed voices and the sight of unpredictable behaviors was overwhelming. Tables were overturned, food scattered, and the once orderly cafeteria had become a whirlwind of confusion and fear. I struggled to maintain control, to figure out what had gone wrong. Suddenly, Jaya appeared, her presence immediately commanding attention. She strode into the cafeteria, eyes sharp and determined, her peacekeeping uniform adding to her authority. "Everyone, calm down!" she shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Form an orderly line by the exit. We'll get this sorted." Jaya moved through the crowd with precision, addressing each issue with a blend of firmness and empathy. Her leadership was evident as she directed her team to assist the affected patrons. She reached my station, her expression a mix of concern and frustration. "Eli, what the hell happened?" she demanded. "I don't know," I admitted, feeling the weight of the situation. The food was fine when I tested it. I didn't expect this. "Well, we need to fix it. Now," she said, her tone brooking no argument. Together we worked to calm the patrons, addressing their immediate needs and ensuring no one was in serious danger. The chaos slowly began to subside under Jaya's guidance. By the time order was restored, the cafeteria was a mess, and I felt drained. Jaya stayed with me, her presence a grounding force. "This can't happen again," she said, not unkindly. "We need to figure out what went wrong." "I agree," I said, the responsibility weighing heavily on my shoulders. "I'll start refining my recipes immediately." Despite the initial chaos, the unique effects of my food had sparked a wave of curiosity. More patrons, driven by the rumors of the previous night, flocked to the cafeteria. Qatar was among them, his scholarly interest piqued. Qatar approached me with a datapad, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "Eli, I've been analyzing the reactions. The biochemical interactions between human cuisine and alien physiology are unprecedented. We need to study this further." I nodded, appreciating his enthusiasm. "I agree, but we need to ensure it's safe. I don't want a repeat of last night." Qatar's antennae twitched in agreement. "Precisely. I believe we can isolate the compounds causing these effects and adjust the recipes accordingly." Together we delved into the science of cooking, experimenting with different ingredients and their effects on various species. It was a meticulous process, but one that held immense potential. The more we learned, the more I realized the complexity of interstellar cuisine. Meanwhile, Jaya's role became even more pivotal. Conflicts arising from the unpredictable reactions to my food became more frequent. One afternoon, a dispute broke out between two patrons, each accusing the other of stealing their enhanced abilities. Jaya intervened, her presence commanding immediate respect. "Both of you, step back and calm down," she ordered. "We'll get to the bottom of this, but fighting won't solve anything." Her firm yet fair approach diffused the situation, and she later spoke to me privately. "Eli, your food is causing more than just culinary excitement. You need to be more careful." "I know," I said, frustration and determination mingling in my voice. "I'm working on it with Qatar. We're trying to understand the full effects." As we continued to collaborate, our interactions became less formal and more personal. We shared stories over late-night meals, discussing our backgrounds and aspirations. Jaya's respect for my dedication grew, and I found myself admiring her unwavering commitment to her duty. One evening, Qatar rushed into the kitchen, his excitement palpable. Eli, I've discovered something extraordinary. Certain human spices act as powerful enhancers for latent abilities in some species. I looked up from my cooking, intrigued. Enhancers? What do you mean? Qatar's eyes shone with enthusiasm. These spices can amplify specific traits, like strength, speed, or even cognitive functions. But we must be cautious. The potential for misuse is significant. Jaya, who had overheard our conversation, voiced her concerns. This could be dangerous, Eli. We need to ensure these spices are used responsibly. I nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. You're right. We'll need to balance innovation with caution. As I continued to refine my recipes, I felt the weight of responsibility more than ever. The line between culinary innovation and potential harm was thin, and it was up to me to tread it carefully. With Qatar's scientific insights and Jaya's steadfast support, I was determined to navigate this uncharted territory and prove that human cuisine could be a force for good in the galaxy. The buzz around the upcoming diplomatic event on Nexus Station was palpable. The Council had decided to showcase human cuisine as a symbol of unity, and I had been chosen to cater the event. The weight of the task settled on my shoulders like a heavy cloak. This was more than just a dinner. It was an opportunity to mend and build bridges between species. Jaya and Qatar were with me every step of the way. Jaya's efficiency and attention to detail were invaluable as we planned the logistics, while Qatar's scientific insights helped refine my recipes to ensure they were safe and palatable for the diverse alien dignitaries. The pressure was immense. Each ingredient, each dish, had to be perfect. As the day approached, the tension among the dignitaries became more apparent. Rumors of skepticism and concern circulated. Some were excited about the cultural exchange, while others feared the potential for unexpected reactions. My stomach churned with anxiety, but I pushed through, determined to prove the naysayers wrong. The grand hall of the cafeteria had been transformed for the event. Tables draped in elegant cloths, centerpieces representing the homeworlds of the guests, and soft lighting created an atmosphere of calm sophistication. I stood in the kitchen, reviewing the menu one last time, my mind racing through every possible scenario. Jaya entered, her calm demeanor a stark contrast to my inner turmoil. Eli, everything looks great. Remember, you've got this. I nodded, trying to draw strength from her confidence. Thanks, Jaya. Let's hope it all goes smoothly. As the dignitaries began to arrive, the atmosphere was electric. Conversations in multiple languages filled the air, a symphony of diplomacy and curiosity. I started serving the appetizers, each dish crafted to highlight the unique flavors of Earth's cuisine while being mindful of the guests' dietary needs. Initial reactions were overwhelmingly positive, smiles and nods of approval spreading through the room. I began to relax, allowing myself to savor the success. But then, the unthinkable happened. An influential alien dignitary, a towering figure with emerald scales and an air of authority, took a bite of the dessert, a delicate concoction of chocolate and spices. Within moments, his face contorted in pain, and he collapsed, gasping for breath. Panic erupted, dignitaries shouting in alarm, the atmosphere turning from celebratory to chaotic in an instant. Jaya sprang into action, her voice cutting through the din. Everyone, stay calm. We're handling this. She knelt beside the dignitary, checking his vitals and trying to keep him stable. I rushed to the kitchen, heart pounding, trying to figure out what had gone wrong. Qatar was already there, analyzing the ingredients. Eli, there's a compound in the chocolate that reacts with his physiology. It's rare, but I've seen it before. We need to neutralize it immediately. I grabbed the antidote we had prepared for emergencies, my hands shaking as I handed it to Qatar. He administered it swiftly and slowly, the dignitary's breathing steadied. The room fell into a tense silence, all eyes on us. The immediate crisis was averted, but the damage was done. Whispers of banning human cuisine spread among the guests, their trust shaken. I felt the weight of responsibility crushing me. Had my ambition caused a diplomatic disaster? Later, as the hall emptied and the dignitaries left, Jaya found me in the kitchen, staring at the remnants of the evening. "Eli, it wasn't your fault. You did everything you could." "I don't know, Jaya. Maybe human cuisine doesn't belong here. Maybe I don't belong here." I sighed, the burden of the evening pressing down on me. Jaya stepped closer, her gaze unwavering. "You do belong here, Eli. Your work is vital for fostering interstellar understanding. This was a setback, but it's not the end. We'll learn from it and do better next time. You can't give up now." Her words resonated with me, a lifeline in the storm of doubt. "You're right," I said, my voice steadier. "We'll figure this out." The following days were a whirlwind of discussions and decisions. The Council of Species representatives convened to address the incident and create guidelines for the safe introduction of new cuisines. It was a delicate process, balancing caution with the spirit of cultural exchange. I was appointed as a culinary ambassador, a role that recognized my contributions and placed new responsibilities on my shoulders. Qatar's research was published, detailing our findings and the potential of human cuisine to enhance interspecies cooperation. His work earned him respect within the scientific community, and we continued to collaborate, pushing the boundaries of culinary science and interspecies understanding. One evening, as the cafeteria quieted down and the stars outside the station's windows twinkled, Jaya and I sat together, sharing a meal. The bond between us had deepened through the challenges we faced, and we found solace in each other's company. "Thank you for believing in me," I said, breaking the comfortable silence. "I couldn't have done this without you." Jaya smiled, her eyes reflecting the starry expanse outside. "We're a team, Eli, and there's so much more we can achieve together."